Welcome to 3 Steps. This is the second part of a 3-part interview with Jesse Steele, co-owner of Revolver Fashion, which is a festival wear company. He is a video blogger and my best friend. Now, if you missed the first one, follow the link right here. In this one, we went into the trust conversation. Did you trust men? And right off the bat, he's like, I didn't trust my father and the men that I saw that were most like me. And that's not an uncommon thing. But he has a really cool process that he used to develop trust with those men. And it's surprising how quick he does it. And the goal of it all is, we can all have fun. So moving right along, we got into the conversation about relationships. And he has a really slick piece of advice. It's get in touch with who you are in the beginning. And then he gives you this 3-step process that will allow you to have a transparent relationship with someone who will really appreciate you. Now, the way he knows this works is because, and I'm going to quote, my wife was a bigger cheerleader for who I was than I was. And that's all because of doing this technique. Then we went to confidence. Now, in the confidence conversation, we went on talking about cockiness versus confidence and how the two show up and how they feel, the difference is the way they feel and basically that the story can get in the way of connection based on which way you're coming from, whether you're coming from confidence or you're coming from cockiness. And his point of view is you get confidence by doing. All right, see you inside. In your coming up and in your growing up, did you always trust men?
Wow, I would say I didn't trust my father. So that would be the first go-to. Maybe I expected him to be somebody that he was never going to be, or maybe he's made promises that he didn't keep. And then I just kind of ended up letting other people be who they're going to be. And that's one of my superpowers in life, just let you be you. I want you to be the best version of you, but I'm going to let you be you. But then later in life, I had this wake-up call, and I realized that the men that I saw that were most like me, let's see, the mirrors in my life, I didn't trust those guys. Are we allowed to swear in this?
Yeah.
I didn't trust those motherfuckers. I look at this guy across the room and I'm like, what is he plotting and planning? Like he's scheming the room and he's, and I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And
he wasn't your co-conspirator.
No, and we were competition, so we'd kind of circle, and I realized this. Also kind of going through, this was part of the men's leadership training, and I went up and befriended these guys, and I was just like, hey, I don't trust you, I'm kind of on edge with you, and a lot of them were like, yeah, I am with you too, and I was like, what is that all about? And we just sit down and ground and talk about it. We're like, oh, we are so much alike. Maybe we could just be supporters for each other.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's fucking awesome, though.
Yeah.
That's. I was going to ask you how you got past that, or if you have. That's brilliant, man.
So I see that sometimes, in my life now. I'd be like some guy. I'm like, I don't know. I'll go right up to him. I'm like, hey, let's ground, whatever. Yeah. I'm not here to impede on your space. I want you to have the best time possible. I'm not here to take your women, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We can all have fun.
We can all have all the fun.
Yeah,
yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. But it's getting to that place where you can trust yourself to be confident enough to walk up to that man and be like, okay, let's engage.
Right. It's the confidence of vulnerability.
Yeah, totally.
And that's some of the biggest confidence right there.
Yeah. Do you have any advice about relationships?
I mean, one of the hardest lessons for me to learn in life was being honest with who I was, in relationship. And this, basically the way it works is we create, when we have a first date with somebody, we put on that mask and that wardrobe that we think that woman wants. And she's also doing the same thing. She paints on her mask and puts on the heels and, the girdle or whatever that she thinks that the guy wants. And then you keep living this, and you keep living this persona of you, which is not your integral you. Yeah. And then, there's this 6-month or 1 year or year and a half timeline where you get sick of acting and not being yourself, and you start, just wearing your underwear and playing video games in the morning, or farting wherever in the house and things like that, or not giving a shit about stuff. And she's like, you've changed. You haven't changed. You lied to her.
Yeah, you did.
This is who you are. So get in touch with who you are in the beginning. Ask yourself, is that who you want to be? If that's not who you want to be, work on becoming the guy you want to be for the other person. Yeah. Then honestly be that guy from the beginning. And I have communicated this to, so many relationships and so many women where I've just been like, all right, like this is getting serious. Like, you want to see who I am? Like, let me just open it up and show you this, all my vulnerabilities, all my dark sides, all my wants, all my desires, like all my shames, things like that. And, a lot of times women are just like, it's just too much.
Yeah.
And they're like, and they freak out and go.
Yeah.
And when you find the person who goes, oh man, I love that. Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And like my wife, like, was a bigger cheerleader for who I was than I was for myself. And that is transformative.
Yeah, totally true.
Yeah. So that's been, probably the biggest journey there with relationships. And it's ended, super solid. So
yeah. What does confidence mean to you?
Confidence is knowing you have the ability to do something.
Okay.
So, you get confidence by doing something, whether it's like mechanics on a car or something. Change your oil. Oh, that messed up the first time. You did it again. Now you're confident in changing your oil.
Yeah.
The next thing is whatever in a car, because I'm not confident with cars. And then you do more of that stuff and more of that stuff and more of that stuff in life, and you realize basically you could probably handle anything. You can figure it out. Not everybody knows everything, but you can figure it out like anyone else can figure it out, and that's just confidence, which is different from cockiness.
Totally. So let's hear that. So what's your difference from cockiness?
So cockiness is the masquerading that you can do something that you've never done or can't do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the cockiness is like, oh yeah, I can go pick up that girl, or I can, whatever. I can make $1 million like this, and it's just it sounds very, very different. So unless somebody's really grounded, who's a multimillionaire and already done this, he's like, yeah, I can open a company and within a year, make $1 million on it. Like, if he talks like that, I want to hear it because wow, that's a system I want to know about. Yeah. But if he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this thing and be a millionaire next month and whatever, it's like a lie. He's lying to himself. He's lying to the other person, probably to impress the other person. And it's not about his just being solid and knowing what he can do and his own worth.
Yeah. That bullshit meter. It's super important.
And that's insidious. Like, cockiness is insidious. And sometimes I kind of walk that line too, because I love my stories. I love all my life stories, all the cool stuff I've done, and be like, oh, listen to this cool stuff I've done, Yeah. Then I hear myself going, okay, is this cocky, or braggadocious, or is this just a fun story?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's a fine dance sometimes, because it's easy to start getting into a story, but then you realize you're off your tangent and you're not being on the page, and so now you're being cocky as opposed to like, oh, I'm sharing a thing because I want you to I want to share.
Right.
That's the whole thing.
And one of the guys, I don't know if we can mention, like Tony Robbins here, but I hear him do this so well. He's just like, I made $10 million last year, and I do this, and I fed 20 million homeless and all this stuff. And he's like, I don't say this to be like, look how big I am and look at the great stuff I do. I say this because this is stuff that we can do in life, and you can get these skills, and I want you to. Yeah. And it's like, you just hear that authenticity and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, totally. So you weren't always confident. How did you come to your confidence? What was your journey like?
Yeah, I think confidence came from the body and confidence came from the martial arts. And it's just this weird thing. If I know that I can defend myself and I can hurt someone if I need to, I can put someone down, then if someone can't hurt me, then what do I have to be afraid of?
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, in kind of becoming this superhero, my idea of what a man was, become a superhero, a multiple black belt motorcycle rider, like all this really cool stuff. I just put on this armor, this shell, this Batman armor. Yeah. And then I realized later in life that people couldn't relate to me or didn't trust me, or I was an asshole behind all that armor. Yeah. And so that I had to really start taking the armor off and like exposing the vulnerability, because that armor and those shells are not what make the man.
Right. Yeah, totally. Right, but it's true.
Like good luck with that in a relationship or a marriage or something like that. You're just like stoic and you've got armor and you never feel and you can't relate to your wife or whatever. It's just like, wow, that would suck.
That totally suck. Damn, dude. That was fucking good, man.
I love you, brother.
I love you too. Thank you for coming on, man. This shit was fucking rock. Thanks for watching. So what do you think about that conversation about cockiness versus confidence? And what do you think of that advice he gave? Pretty interesting stuff, right? Well, if you liked it, hit the like button and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this interview. Also, subscribe. Help us reach 100 subscribers and hit the bell for notifications. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, by all means do, because we're going to have him on this Sunday. All right, see you Friday.